1. Texas flood disaster: how climate change and funding cuts created a deadly crisis. 2. Texas floods: the impact of climate change on disaster forecasting. 1. Texas flood disaster: how climate change and funding cuts created a deadly crisis. The Texas flood, a stark reminder of our climate vulnerability. The devastating flash flood that struck Texas on the 4th of July, claiming the lives of at least 78 individuals, serves as a critical reminder of the increasing dangers posed by climate change. This tragic event has drawn attention to the nation's escalating susceptibility to climate-related disasters. As rescue teams tirelessly search for missing children along the Guadalupe River, experts warn that this incident is yet another indication of how rising global temperatures are intensifying the risk of flooding. Across the globe, we are witnessing alarming signs of extreme weather patterns, ranging from severe droughts to more powerful rainstorms. These phenomena have led to catastrophic wildfires, significant water shortages, and flooding not only in California but also in various regions worldwide. While the immediate focus remains on the urgent search for those missing in the Texas flood zone, this calamity is already igniting discussions about the need for a shift in federal climate policy. But here's where it gets controversial. Critics are expressing deep concerns over the federal government's decision to cut funding for weather forecasting, close climate-related websites and databases, and lay off scientists and researchers. These actions come at a time when climate change is making such disasters more frequent and severe. In California, for instance, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, and its branch, the National Weather Service, NWS, are struggling due to budget cuts imposed by the Trump administration. In May, 2 NWS officers in California reported they lacked sufficient staff to operate overnight, particularly in areas prone to fires and floods, such as Hanford and Sacramento. Nationally, over 600 scientists and meteorologists have already lost their jobs or accepted buyouts from NOAA this year. The administration plans to cut thousands more positions next year, which would represent about 17% of the workforce, alongside a budget reduction exceeding $1.5 billion. The president claims these changes will help eliminate federal waste and save taxpayer money. However, these cuts come at a time when human-induced climate change is leading to more frequent and severe floods, wildfires, and hurricanes. The Texas flood exemplifies this trend, characterized by an exceptionally intense and localized downpour that has become increasingly common due to global warming. Reports indicate that parts of the Guadalupe River surged by 26 feet in under an hour. Daniel Swain, a climate scientist at the University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources, stated, "This is one of the hardest things to predict that's becoming worse faster than almost anything else in a warming climate, and it's at a moment where we are defunding the ability of meteorologists and emergency managers to coordinate." That trifecta seems like a recipe for disaster. And this is the part most people miss: the frequency of such extreme weather events will soon be more challenging to track, as the Trump administration has already dismantled NOAA's database for monitoring billion-dollar disasters. The last update before its closure revealed that in 2024, there were 27 weather and climate disasters in the U.S. with losses exceeding $1 billion each. In contrast, the 1980s averaged only 3.3 such events annually, adjusted for inflation. Recently, the administration also shut down the U.S. Global Change Research Program's website, which contained essential reports and research on climate change. Additionally, the Weather Service has started to suspend weather balloon operations at various locations due to staffing shortages, further diminishing the available data. As search and rescue efforts continue in Hunt, Texas, where vehicles remain submerged, state officials have begun to scrutinize the National Weather Service. Texas Division of Emergency Management Chief Nim Keat criticized the forecast for not accurately predicting the rainfall amounts. However, agency officials maintain that they fulfilled their responsibilities by issuing multiple warnings ahead of the flood, including alerts about potentially catastrophic conditions. A timeline from the NWS indicates that an expanded flood hazard outlook was issued on the morning of July 3, followed by increasingly urgent alerts. Erica Gross CI, a spokesperson for the NWS, expressed sorrow over the tragic loss of life in Kerr County, emphasizing the agency's commitment to serving the public through accurate forecasts and decision support services. Despite this, the local office was understaffed, lacking several key positions, including a senior hydrologist and a meteorologist in charge. The absence of a warning coordination meteorologist, who serves as a liaison between the Weather Service and emergency management officials, was particularly notable, as this individual had accepted a buyout earlier in the year. On Sunday, Texas Representative Joaquin Castro called for an investigation into whether the staffing shortages at the NWS contributed to the disaster, stating that not having enough personnel is never helpful. In response, the White House did not address the staffing cuts but asserted that no funding reductions have yet impacted the National Weather Service. A spokesperson from the U.S. Commerce Department, which oversees NOAA, stated that the timely and accurate forecasts for Texas demonstrate the NWS's capability to fulfill its critical mission. As investigations into the Texas tragedy continue, experts agree that climate-related hazards will persist. Jonathan Porter, chief meteorologist at AccuWeather, noted, "With a warmer atmosphere, there is no doubt that we have seen an increase in the frequency and the magnitude of flash flooding events globally." While Porter acknowledged the NWS's timely warnings, he pointed out a breakdown in the local officials' response to this information. The key question is, what did people do with those warnings that were timely, that were issued? What was their reaction? What was their weather safety plan? And then what actions did they take based upon those timely warnings, in order to ensure that people's lives were saved? As the situation unfolds, efforts to improve coordination between the Weather Service, government, and the public may also face cuts. NOAA has been exploring better communication methods for disaster warnings, including enhanced public education and early warning systems, but its Oceanic and Atmospheric Research Division is facing a staggering 74% budget cut, potentially leading to its complete elimination. The proposed 2026 budget would also reduce funding for specialized, high-resolution thunderstorm models crucial for predicting such events. Swain emphasized that the U.S. government has historically funded nearly all research aimed at understanding and predicting these storms. If we don't do it for ourselves, we aren't going to have access to that, he warned. The Texas flood exemplifies the kind of nightmare scenario that is likely to become more common if the proposed cuts are implemented. What do you think, as the administration prioritizes investments in fossil fuel industries, which are significant contributors to global warming? How do you feel about the future of climate policy and disaster preparedness in the U.S.? Are we doing enough to protect ourselves from the increasing threats posed by climate change? Share your thoughts in the comments. 2. Texas floods, the impact of climate change on disaster forecasting. Imagine a world where even the most advanced weather predictions can't keep up with nature's fury. That's the unsettling reality emerging from Texas' catastrophic floods, a disaster exposing cracks in our climate crisis preparedness. But here's where it gets controversial. Could political decisions actually be worsening these tragedies? As rescue teams battle raging waters and grieving families count losses, experts warn we are witnessing a dangerous new era where extreme weather outpaces our forecasting abilities. And this is the part most people miss. The problem isn't just nature, it's human choices accelerating the chaos. Over 70 lives were claimed in Central Texas' recent floods, including heartbreakingly young summer campers caught in the Guadalupe River's wrath. While flash floods aren't unusual here, this region's nickname, Flash Flood Alley, hints at its vulnerability. The sheer intensity of these rains defied expectations. Meteorologists calculated Friday's downpour, 10 inches falling in just 3 hours, had a 1 in 500 chance of occurring in any given year. By Saturday, conditions turned even more extreme. 14 inches in 5 hours west of Austin made statisticians' heads spin, representing a 1 inch to 1,000 year weather event. Here's what makes this story gripping. The National Weather Service, NWS, actually issued timely warnings. Their Thursday forecasts warn of 5 to 7 inches of rain, the equivalent of 3 months' typical rainfall, while specialized models flag unprecedented atmospheric moisture levels. Yet despite these red flags, actual rainfall doubled initial estimates. Why? Predicting flash floods remains akin to guessing which street corner a tornado will strike, a challenge made harder by hilly terrain that creates microclimates where storms can intensify unpredictably. Let's unpack the controversy. Former President Trump's administration slashed NWS budgets, leaving key offices understaffed. The San Angelo office, where the heaviest rains fell, had 2 critical vacancies, its top meteorologist and hydrologist positions. Meanwhile, Austin/San Antonio's office lacked a warning coordination officer, the crucial link between forecasters and emergency managers. But here's the twist. These officers actually increased overnight staffing during the crisis, and their equipment functioned normally. Could this suggest deeper systemic issues beyond current cuts? Are we witnessing a perfect storm of aging infrastructure, political neglect, and climate acceleration? The science becomes even more fascinating when we examine Tropical Storm Barry's role. Though making landfall in Mexico, this storm's remnants combined with climate-driven warming to create a moisture monster. Record-breaking Gulf waters, heated by rising global temperatures, supercharged the atmosphere, creating conditions where air could hold 99th percentile moisture levels. This isn't just bad luck, it's physics in action, with warmer air holding more water vapor and creating increasingly volatile weather patterns. So where does this leave us? The NWS's Environmental Modeling Center, which develops forecasting tools for these precise situations, faces serious challenges from recent budget cuts. While we've mastered predicting general storm risks 24 hours in advance, pinpointing exact rainfall amounts in complex terrains remains elusive. Should we be investing more in hyperlocal weather modeling? Are political decisions compromising our ability to adapt to climate realities? Share your thoughts below. Is this a failure of science, policy, or something even more complex?